Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the PivotBoss pre-market video for Thursday, January 16th, 2020. I am Frank Ochoa, aka PivotBoss. Here's a look at the daily time frame of the ES. You'll notice here that the ES continues to trend higher. It has been in a very clear uptrending channel for quite some time. Again, while we could see some sort of cycle high that leads to a bit of a pullback here, as I continue to mention, it's hard to bet against this thing not just continuing higher at this moment. There's quite a bit of upside momentum. At the moment, you're also seeing a breakout through recent highs here today on overnight and pre-market strength. This is a 5-day narrow range, which you can see right here is already compressed. If this starts to elongate, we may see this thing come up and start to begin the process of expansion. So narrow 5-day range, are we about to see an upside continuation through here, or is by the end of the day are we going to see some sort of rejection? At the moment we're trading 33.05 in the ES, and again that continues to be a zone here where bears are currently defending on the intraday time frame after the overnight rejection high. So again, if there's some sort of failure to stay above 2-day high, say we close back here at 32.85, that could look like quite a rejection here with a tail at the upper end of the day, and maybe perhaps that leads to a downside push. So that's going to be something to look for in case there's a failure. But as of right now, everything continues to trend higher. As long as price continues to hold above the breakout point here, everything continues to suggest more upside ahead. So 32.95 is going to be a key level, 32.94. Overall, this market continues to show strength, so continue to watch this zone here. All right, let's take a look here at the NQ. You'll see that this one also continues to show quite a bit of strength. The trajectory is very bullish. One big day last week led to another slingshot move higher. But while this market has pushed higher, you'll notice here that we are also seeing compression here. That's a 5-day range compression, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right here. If we knock this one off and just go these current 5, it's compression, although this day is still developing. So we already have confirmed compression, and that could lead to a breakout here pretty soon. And again, keep an eye on the upper end of the range. Because of the trajectory here, again, I mentioned that if we were to break down, watch for rejection inside the PIMA trigger zone and watch for maybe a tail to develop. Because if we get something like that, again, it could lead to the next phase higher. This market continues to push up very hard, but at the same time, at some point, this market may see some sort of reversion to the mean trade, so we'll keep an eye on that. But very clear compression right now, and we'll see if there's some sort of expansion that occurs soon. All right, let's take a look here at crude oil. You'll see here with crude oil, this one has had a significant rejection up here to the 65-66 zone. Major outside day down, one of the largest days in recent memory. And we've seen a modest continuation downward. Again, we mentioned before that we might see 3 or 4 days sideways before we continue downward. This one went 2 days sideways and then quickly continued downward, and now has been sideways another 3 days here. So if you look at something like the 60-minute chart here, we've developed a very clear range from the 57.36 low to about the 58.65 high. So it's a pretty narrow range right there, and if we get some expansion from that range, it could be significant. Even if it's to the upside here, it could lead to at least a bounce back towards 60. So we'll see which way we go. Based off of the fact that the 8 period is dropping heavily here after this major rejection, again, if it bounces, I would say watch for signs of rejection, because that could be an opportunity to sell it ahead of the next drop into 54s. That's the next major support level down. You have 55.30 here. That's the previous month's low. That zone is the next area of support. So if there's any bounce that fails, that could be an opportunity here to push it down into the next area of support down below. All right, let's take a look now lastly at GC. Now with GC, again, I continue to mention that this one is holding in the PIMA trigger zone but is not getting the lift that you'd like to see. So when that's the case, imagine being a buyer here that's bought and it's not going anywhere. More buyers buy, it's not going anywhere. More buyers, more buyers, more buyers, more buyers. It's getting heavy right now. All the sell stops are below and it's not able to go higher. So at some point here there may be a long liquidation where those buyers turn to sellers, and then that starts to trigger the downside stops and we see some sort of flush. Now again, that's just what tends to happen when buyers are not getting paid. And right now we have a compression phase here where if it were to explode to the upside, then that could easily trigger the next phase up. So a breakout from this narrow range could be ahead. We have a 5-day narrow range reading here as well. A breakout in either direction could be seen, so we'll continue to watch it, but the upward trajectory is still intact for now. I mentioned before, the last thing I'll mention here, 1565 is going to be the key level to watch. Remember, we have a very clear resistance right up here that is developed. That is actually a rectangle, so here's the line. Very clear resistance right across those highs there. The support level is right here, and you can see how clear that is on the volume profile here. LVN, the 200-day support, the breakout point, resistance. There's the rejection. So this is what I mentioned yesterday. If price cannot get through or stay above 1565, then that could become a lower high that eventually leads to a return as low as 1450. So continue to watch the 1565 to 1575 zone for signs of rejection. All right, that is it for now. We'll see how this develops the rest of the day. Good luck, trade well, and I'll see you in the trading room. Take care.